Harrison Price for Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. We're a presentation of Bet365 coming to you from the Nation Network studio here at the historic Wall Center. Matt Sakaris with Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson, hitting switches, conducting things with intern James No.
Yes.
Big show planned for you here on this Tuesday as we're now deep into the Winter Games from Milan. Looking at elimination hockey games and not to mention counting up those medals and looking at what possibilities may still be in store for the Maple Leaf. Because it hasn't been the best games to date, but we're closers. Everybody knows this.
Candidates are
get to that quarter pole. We're the horse that just takes off and
we are going to have to be Dennis Eckersley.
Right.
Mariano Rivera.
Like we may have to be Secretariat here down the stretch to get to the goal.
Mixing our metaphors.
Yeah. Plenty happening here, not just at the games, but with the Vancouver Canucks as well. So let's get into it. And the Yellow Dog poll question brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Elias Pettersson to LA for Quinton Byfield. Who says no? You can vote Canucks, you can vote Kings, you can vote neither, you can vote both. Do so at the Harrison Price X and YouTube channels. And here's where we're coming from today. Ben Kuzma with the story in the I saw Kuz the other day on West 4th.
Did you?
Was waiting at a pedestrian crossing. I feel a slap on the back, a neck rub. Very Moj-esque, actually. Say, hey, Matty. Hey, Kuz. Nice catch up with Ben. He looks great. Anyways, interesting story from Kuzma today about the LA Kings' interest in Elias Pettersson. He says LA's interest, quote, increased with the Swedes' 2-goal game Saturday for Sweden in the Olympics. Plus, the Kings have $15 million now in cap space because of the injury of Kevin Fiala. He's gone for the year, so they don't have to worry about making room for him returning. They can just put him on LTIR now. And, of course, they have winger Andrei Kuzmenko there, Blake, which we haven't probably highlighted as much as we should have when discussing Pettersson and LA Kings' interest. You'll remember 2022-23, a 39-goal season for Kuzmenko alongside Pettersson, who had his pièce de résistance season with 102 points for the Vancouver.
This is his second best year right now. You know, pretty much.
Kuzmenko or
Kuzmenko, yeah.
Okay.
He had a 14-goal season, but he's okay right now.
He's a good power play player.
Yeah.
He's a good offensive winger when played with a distributing centerman or other good offensive players where you just have to hold your nose a little bit in terms of what he offers or doesn't offer on the defensive side of the puck.
If you can turn him into a certified top 6 winger, I put him on Petey's wing. That's exactly what the LA Kings would want with the injury to Kevin Fiala.
And they need goals. They needed goals before the Artemi Panarin trade, and they now need goals after the Kevin Fiala injury. And, of course, this is Anze Kopitar's swan song with the LA Kings. And so we talked to John Shannon about it yesterday. I cannot see their general manager, Vernon's Ken Holland, capitulating on this season, especially when handed the cap space of the Fiala injury.
100% I don't see them capitulating. What I also don't see them doing is making incremental trades.
Cornerstone?
Yeah. You know, in terms of your NHL 2026 trade, EA Sports, yeah, I could understand Byfield for Pettersson. But for the LA Kings to be competitive now and in the next few seasons, which is, you know, the Panarin contract now, and for Anze Kopitar, as you mentioned too, like Pettersson for Byfield only gets them a half step ahead of where they currently are. They can get 2 steps ahead of where they currently are if they hold on to Byfield and merely add Pettersson. And you might say, well, they don't have the assets. No, that's exactly right. I just don't see the assets in the LA Kings organization right now in order to be able to scratch the particular itches of the Vancouver Canucks. Matt, even if they said we don't need an NHL-ready center, we need an almost NHL-ready center. I don't even see that on the LA Kings.
I'm not sure that's there.
So
you go back a few years ago, they had probably the best prospect pool in the NHL, or it was right there. And
a lot of them graduated.
Yeah, some of them graduated, and some fizzled out. I mean, Turcotte. Brant Clark would be the guy there, the right shot.
They had Faber, traded him away.
Yeah. For Fiala.
Yeah.
No, you could well be right, Blake. And look, all the indications are if the Vancouver Canucks are even can consider an Elias Pettersson trade, they need a center back. Now, Byfield is 23 years old. PD is 27. Byfield with the 30 points in 55 games. PD with 34 in 49 games. So better scoring rate for Pettersson this year and historically. But $11.6 million salary, Blake, to Byfield's 6.25, so almost twice as expensive.
With 3 more years for Byfield, too.
Yeah, he's got 3 more years, so that could be a very good value contract.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of failure to launch for Byfield.
A little bit.
I mean, he's a second overall pick, and behind Alexei Lafreniere, people thought this guy could be not Eric Lindros, but Eric Lindros light. A big, physical, moves well centerman.
Mm-hmm.
And he just hasn't cracked the code yet at the NHL level. Now, sometimes bigger guys take a little bit longer to develop.
If PD's a certified point per game guy still, and on crappy teams, you still have that from time to time, right? I mean, he was Celebrini last year, right there. If he's a point per game right now, 49 points, 49 games, but the Canucks are still where they are, or they're 30th in the league, then this trade is interesting. Because it's a real jump up for the Kings.
But if that's the case, I'm not sure the Canucks want off the Elias Pettersson contract because they look at it and say he's a 27-year-old first-line center and he is integral to our next competitive cycle.
Which would begin when he's 29 or 30.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Petey has the trade protection, but many around the club believe he would waive for L.A. His wife's got history in that market. She's lived there. Kuz also saying watch Detroit, Carolina, and Chicago, who are in the market for center iceman. That's an interesting collection of teams. So we've long heard the Carolina Hurricanes and their interest in Elias Pettersson. And in fact, 2 years ago, they broke off a call to Jim Rutherford wondering if he would part with a then-to-be RFA Elias Pettersson. We know about Detroit's struggles at center ice. They were hoping Marco Kasper would fill that role for them this year. He's had a shockingly bad year. And so with Detroit primed for a playoff run and for the first time in a long, long time in Hockey Town, not to mention with a terrific stable of young players and prospects, would Detroit feel like it's time to take a big swing? And then in Chicago's case, it's a little bit more forward-looking and trying to accelerate and kickstart their rebuild into a playoff spot, if not this year, then soon. Frank Nazar, a nice young player who they've already locked up long-term behind Connor Bedard, but this would give you more depth. And not to mention, you may want to play Bedard on the wing going forward. I mean, he's an awfully small. Can he play center? Sure. Do you want Bedard playing the middle of the ice in the Western Conference Stanley Cup playoffs against some of the big horses that you're going to have to get over there?
You'd need a power winger on that line if it's Bedard, Pettersson, and somebody else.
So where did you vote here?
My vote is that the Kings say no. That it's just not a big enough jump at the and they want more depth. They want another body.
If it wasn't an old school general manager like Ken Holland who didn't draft Quinton Byfield, I would have voted Kings as well. But I voted neither. Let's have some fun. Let's make a deal. Ancillary conversation here.
I mean, to back you up, I will say and I'm not saying Ken Holland's stupid. He's not. but every GM in the league is capable of a stupid move because they just want it. And he might.
No, but Ken also makes courage of his conviction trades now, as opposed to straight marketplace trades. Like, there's a lot of general managers who would look at Elias Pettersson's contract, his production in the last 2 years, and go, that's not an $11.6 million player, so I am not going to trade assets for an overpriced guy, not to mention with his reputation as a coach killer and uncoachable and unreachable. I think for guys like Ken Holland, who, of course, has Stanley Cup rings from Detroit, and again, who's looking to make something of this year as franchise icon Kopitar retires, not to mention set up a competitive cycle going forward, because you don't make the trade for Panarin without wanting a competitive cycle in the immediate term. It's an interesting dynamic. One other ancillary footnote here, because you've offered this up in the past, not necessarily believing the Canucks are in for a long-haul rebuild and thinking that with some cap space they're going to be shopping on the free agent market July 1st. Could you see them wanting to bring Kuzmenko home? It's the UFA. He and Petey were terrific together.
Assuming EP40 is not traded away and he's available in the offseason for a reasonable freight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah. Well, they would justify it by saying, well, we need somebody for Petey to play with.
Right. And frankly, I'm not sure they'd be wrong.
No, I mean, if it's a $2 million contract or $3 million contract.
He's making 4.3 now.
Well, he doesn't necessarily get that again.
Probably not. He's 30 years old.
Yeah. I mean, a 2-year deal of $3 million per. I could see that. Wouldn't advise it. I'm not advocating.
I think with the cap
it.
going up, he might get more there in terms of salary or term, but I hear you.
Yeah.
And yes, I could see that happening with the Canucks because, well, there's reason to wonder how committed they are to this rebuild. I saw Durant's report that, to the best of his knowledge, they are not shopping their veteran guys who are under contract who have term remaining. We'll see where it goes.
If they are successful, if they make a trade that we all say, "Wow, that's amazing that they turned DeBrusk or Garland or into,"
it's got to be Garland, I think, unless DeBrusk is waving.
But if they make a trade like that where they win that trade clearly and they get like an on the cusp sort of player back, I could see them looking at each other, going, "I think we can be better next year."
Yeah.
I can absolutely see them doing that.
I would love to know in their heart of hearts, because remember, these were two managers in Rutherford and Alvin who had a whole lot of criticism for Elias Pettersson.
Yeah.
Stood in lockstep with their head coach and their other centerman until that became untenable. About Petey's preparation and practice habits and not being a guy you could win with, at least not in a forward role in the postseason. I would love to know in their heart of hearts how much they want to get off this $11.6 million contract. Whether they grit their teeth and just can't believe they signed that extension and missed opportunities to move off him both 2 years ago before they signed the deal and before the no-move clause kicked in this past summer, or if they actually think, no, we're comfortable with that contract because of the rising cap and because we believe in Elias Pettersson going forward.
I mean, the truth of the matter is,
and I'd like to know what ownership thinks there as well in terms of, would he green light a PD trade, which would signal a full-scale or a fuller-scale rebuild?
The cap space doesn't scare me as much as long as the player remains a 70-point player. Like,
well, what do you mean remains?
Yeah, I mean, remains a possibility as a 70-point player. If he's officially a 45-point player, then yes, 11.6 is a disaster. But
he's better than 40.
But if he's a 70-point plus player, like
he was 45 and 64 last year, so I mean, prorated, that's closer to
60 anyway.
Yeah, 50s.
Anyway, what I'm saying is, as long as the cap is going up decently, not even at light speed, the contract is not so exorbitant. And neither is a bottle of the Paparazzi Chenin Blanc from Yellow Duck.
Is that paparazzi or is that paparazzi?
Is that how they say it? Not see? I would think it's paparazzi, no? The Chenin Blanc from Foolish Wine captures attention with effortless elegance. Notes of white flowers, soft orchard fruit, and honey. It's a wine that is quietly captivating. It's subtle, it's smooth. It's always in focus, as we are here, thanks to the wonderful camera work of Mike Rogerson. It's the Paparazzi Chenin Blanc from Foolish Wine.
I had a football player when I was on the CFL beat walk past me every single day at practice. I'm not speaking today, paparazzi.
Really?
That was my name. He knew my name, but he chose to call me paparazzi.
At BCIT, Ryan Rashog, myself, Global's Aaron MacArthur, we all had a floor hockey team in intramurals there at BCIT.
Mm-hmm.
And being in the broadcast journalism program, we were the paparazzi. I think we played with a ball.
Not bad.
But
How's Rashog? Is he a good player?
He's a good player. He was our sniper.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, he had a good, still had his WHL shot. So,
Oh, he played in the right,
Yeah.
with Kamlus.
Yeah.
Our top story brought to you by Pacific Blue Cross, and we're keeping it Canuck here today. We told you we're going to talk Canucks every single day during the Olympics. Let's keep it in-house. Talk Canucks here with Jonathan Lekramaki. He shines as the Abbotsford Canucks win again. And the Canucks prospect drives the offense. Has he seen the last of the AHL?
Canucks proper back at practice. So, maybe in the not too distant future, we'll see if he's called up for the second last third of the season. I think we've seen that he has officially got the AHL. I won't say graduated because there's again, steeping the players in the AHL is not against the rules, nor is it inadvisable. You can do that, and you probably do not damage the player.
There's a case for over-marinating.
Yeah. But I think we can say he's figured it out. Like 13 goals in 20 games is an unbelievable rate.
He scores twice yesterday on Family Day as Abbotsford beats the Ontario Reign again, this time 5-3. Here's the second goal, fading against the Tide and unleashes a world-class shot into the top corner. That's courtesy Abbotsford Canucks and the AHL. And I played again, Mike. It's so pretty. Let's see it again. I mean, this is just world-class in terms of shooting here. Look, he got the bottle.
Short side.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful goal.
Exactly.
More of that if you're the Vancouver Canucks. So that kind of confidence, so by doing it more at the AHL level, second angle of it here, folks, the more you do that, even at the AHL level, that becomes more translatable to the National Hockey League.
Well, yeah, because that's a shot that beats NHL goaltenders.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not going to play out like that in the offensive zone in the NHL, but in those sort of scenarios where you do have that itty bit of time and that itty bit of space, this is a guy who we saw from his very first NHL cameo can shoot the puck with a tremendous release, great velocity, and accuracy into tight quarters.
Now, I will say this. As you brought up the passes that led up to the goal, Abbotsford's won 6 of its last 10 games, one of the hotter teams in the division now. Maybe you marinate him there because maybe that play is more likely to happen at the AHL level right now than it is at the NHL level.
They're still 10th place in the division, 42 points. How many make the playoffs here?
I believe there's 10 teams in that division, right? And I think 8 make it.
That's right, because it's such a
huge
crazy
division.
League now.
Yeah.
Yes, 23 teams qualify.
So they're only 4 points back of the playoffs right now. And I heard...
no, it's the top 7 in the Pacific make it.
Is it? Top 7? Sorry.
So they're 10 points out of a playoff spot right now. That's a long way to go. And they're
Baines was saying
giving games to everybody.
Yeah, they are. But if they win 6 of their next 10 again, they're right there. And the point still stands. Are they more likely to set Lekramaki up for goals than the NHL equivalents if he gets called up.
No, for me, it's the NHL.
You think the Canucks are capable of that passing play? Again, in their respective leagues. Like, you're trying to set the player up for goals. I think he's more likely to be set up for goals by his AHL teammates than he is by his NHL teammates. That's not saying the NHL team's worse.
So who are the AHL playmakers here? You tell me.
Well, Bedard has been crazy.
Okay, so AHL veteran guys?
Yeah, well, he's only 26.
No, Blake,
What?
come on. NHL guys. Elias Pettersson. Marco Rossi when he gets back in the lineup, and we'll see if he's at practice today. J-Pat's on the case.
But again, you're talking about
Garland,
at the NHL level.
Besser, guys who can pass the puck, when healthy. William on the back end.
Matt, this is the lowest scoring team in the NHL. What makes you think that he's the last piece of the puzzle? You've got to build up to get the puck to him in the red zone, if you will.
I understand that.
This is the worst team in the league at doing that. I don't know. I mean, I think everybody's anxious to see if it translates. I get it, but
hey,
maybe
they're
just keep
averaging
them
more
there.
goals than the Kings, Devils, and Flames. So, no, they're not the worst. They're 29th. We're 29th.
I stand corrected? Question mark?
Yeah, you do. You're going to pick nets. I'm going to pick nets right back at you. As Blake mentioned, it's 13 goals in 20 AHL games this season. It's a point per game now in the AHL this year. 20.
And he
20
leads the team in goals by 3, despite
playing.
the guys the guys that are in second place behind him in goals, tied at 10 goals. They've played 44 and 47 games. They've played more than twice as many games.
Yes. It's 57 points in 78 career AHL games, but that goes back a couple of years and includes that Calder Cup playoff run. Look, for me, what he's doing down there, Blake, is more reason to trade out some of these veteran wingers and create opportunity for Lekramaki at the NHL level. And that's absolutely Evander Kane, the UFA to be. Not to mention, we've talked about Drew O'Connor and Connor Garland as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got a graduation process there, and him playing the last dozen games, certainly, the last 20 games post-trade deadline, it's not the end of the world, whether you're a marinate person or a promote person.
Maybe you could use some insurance in the NHL lineup.
I think they'll go in search of insurance. And if you are a scout, make sure you've got your travel insurance all lined up. Blue Cross, Pacific Blue Cross, that's the way to go. And right now they'd like to send you on the road. And you could do some scouting yourself, perhaps. That's a pair of tickets to Canucks on the road. Lower bowl. Flights, hotel. You got it all. No purchase necessary. Contest ends February 28th, 2026. Enter now at pacificbluecross.ca/Canucks.
As Blake mentioned, the Canucks are back on the ice today, 2 p.m. UBC for their first practice since the Olympic break. That's when teams can begin reconvening and working together per the NHL rules on all of this. Just a reminder, when last we saw the Vancouver Canucks, Philip Hedl was day-to-day. Nils Höglander was day-to-day. Marco Rossi was out with that lower body injury. He suffered a setback, but was given a timeline of we'll see after the Olympic break. Zeev Buium as well. Remember, broken face after taking that shot. Besser was on the injured reserve as well, and we know Thatcher Demko is going to miss the rest of the season. And to that end, Nikita Tolopilo, who has played well for Abbotsford after being sent there for the Olympic break, he will rejoin the big club here. They made a goaltending move today. Ty Young was called up to Abbey from the ECHL to backfill for Tolopilo.
Tolopilo's save percentage now in both AHL and NHL above 900.
Yep.
He's showing himself here.
Yep, he's doing okay. And we'll see if they trade any vets and make this a proper rebuild. But if not, they'll have been beaten to the punch by a burger chain. I saw all of Canucks Twitter having fun with this yesterday. Wendy's CEO Ken Cook, by the way, the CEO of a burger chain is called Cook. Calling 2026 a rebuilding year. When have you heard that in fast food?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever heard those declarations before, have we?
The memes are extraordinary here. Yeah. Lots of Twitter homework.
Maybe they can get some first-round picks. I was told it would be
that first pick of produce.
I was told
when all the growers come in,
it would be a hybrid. Yeah, they picked the wrong NHL fan base to lay out.
On and on it goes. Canada face Czechia tomorrow in the quarterfinals of the Olympic men's hockey tournament. That is at 7:40 a.m. our time. The Czechs win today. They dispatched Denmark. It was a reasonably close game, actually. Denmark was very feisty.
They had a great third period.
And Freddie Anderson was in the pipes for the Danes. It was Lucas Dostal for the Czechs, the Anaheim Ducks. Czechs having some fun with their underdog status going up against Canada. Of course, they played in the preliminary round. Marty Necas, the Colorado Avalanche, quote, "We let them win the first one because we knew we were not going to win 2 in a row against Canada." Very well done, Marty.
Good reframe.
David Pasternak, a little more serious, saying, quote, "It might be the best team ever, so maybe we have to put the respect aside a little bit and try to take their game to them."
Well, I mean,
good luck with that, David.
But here's the thing. Like, if you try to just defend and give them the puck, I don't think that goes well for you either. Like, skating and just hoping that Pasternak goes off might be their best attack.
If I'm the Czechs, I would dump every single puck that isn't on the stick of Pasternak or Necas. I would see if the Canadian defense can consistently break it out, whether they'll be patient enough to break it out with passes, with low-risk passes. And I would shoot absolutely everything inside the blue line and see if Bennington is up to the task.
So you're talking about an aggressive forecheck, though, or sitting 1-2-2?
No, I would sit back.
I mean,
I would particularly sit back when the Canadian speed is on the ice.
Like in a lopsided NHL series, I would do that too. But given how good the Canadians are, I don't know. My answer is I don't know what the best approach would be if you're the head coach of Czechia.
I would see if Parayko, who had a bad one the other day against France, I would see if Parayko and Doughty and some of those defensemen are going to turn me over some pucks.
But that only happens with a forecheck. So that to me might be the key here, is not sit 1-2-2, but go with F1 and F2 like.
Well, yeah, you're going to mix it up a little bit, I think.
But I think you got it right.
I'm not sure I would forecheck McCarr, but I might forecheck the rest of them.
Yeah.
And especially if Morrissey isn't playing. Nathan McKinnon and Sam Bennett missed Canada's practice today. We're still unclear on Josh Morrissey's availability for the quarterfinals. Anticipate Jordan Binnington will start. All indications there. Mm-hmm. And did you see this from the North Van kid? Cute little Macklin Celebrini was worried he wouldn't play much. It's a story quoting his dad, Rick. For those of you just on podcast, youngster asked his dad, "They wouldn't bring me all the way not to play me, right?" And the elder Celebrini smiled and said, I'm pretty sure you're going to play. I don't think you have to worry about that. And then he walks into the Team Canada dressing room, and there it is on the board. He looks up an hour before the first practice, and he's playing wing beside 97, that McDavid fellow.
Can you be honest with yourself? And did you think he might be the 13th forward, or did you think he was playing every night?
No. You know I've been the biggest Macklin Celebrini believer
but
since he was 17
that's not the question.
Years
old. Did you think that they would treat him like that?
No. I thought they would play him in a forward role because they understand he is one of our best players.
Yeah.
Talent doesn't know the number, like in age. Talent doesn't recognize, he's just 19. Oh, he couldn't possibly be this good. He's just 19.
That's not the question.
This is an exceptional player. This is an outlier player. Blake, to me, he is closer to McDavid than Bedard is to him.
And because it's John Cooper, he does play every game. If you know damn well, if it's the last guy.
If it was the last guy, forget
not
about it.
a chance. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it
But
really is about the group
But the
that's
last
taking
guy was on a personality project. John Cooper's playing to win. The other guy was for, the brand and the lore of Mike Babcock, Esquire.
And really, the candidates that could have been coach for Canada, for the most part, probably would have treated it the same way. Like if it's Maurice, or who else would have been even in the conversation? I don't even know.
Well, not Tocchet.
No, but Tocchet would have. I think Tocchet would have played Celebrini. I think he's
depends what kind of shape he showed up in. Depends on how he did on the non-negotiables, staples.
Celebrini, hey, Dad's a trainer, for God's sakes. I think Celebrini's always in great shape.
Yeah, he's a physio. He's more than it. Germany, Slovakia leads off the quarters. That Germany-France game was over early. The Germans were outstanding in the first period, built a 3-0 lead, and that was that. Then the Canada-Czech game. Then the Finns and the Swiss. The Swiss, too, were very good early. Margin wasn't out of hand there, but Switzerland was up 2-0 early and really not threatened. And then the USA versus the Sweden-Latvia winner. And speaking of, Sweden underway right now, looking to secure that quarterfinal berth. Here's how they've lined up today, at least off the start. Elias Pettersson between Philip Forsberg and Rickard Rakell joins that line, with Marcus Johansson being the 13th forward. I saw on social media yesterday, it was a year ago, Philip Forsberg was asked, hey, who do you want to play with on the Swedish Olympic team? And he name-checked Petey as a guy he wanted to play with. And they found some chemistry in that third period against Slovakia in the preliminary round, scoring a couple of times. Rakell gives Elias another scorer on the right flank, like certainly a better scorer than Marcus Johansson.
2 goals in 41 seconds in the first period, so they're off to an early good
for
start.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Who scored?
First, Adrian Kempe. Second, Gabriel Landeskog. So 2 of the 4 lines have already struck.
Yeah, and the thumpers there. I would suspect those are shorter area goals with Landeskog and Kempe. Against Latvia, that if they don't get goaltending, forget about. Is Artie?
It's Merzlikins.
It's not Artie?
Nope.
There you go, Latvia. There's your problem. You didn't start your world championship hero, Artie Sheloves, the Artie party?
Didn't see the goals, but maybe that's the change they make after 20 minutes.
I would think.
Shots are 8-5, though, at this point in the first. So
former Canuck Elias Lindholm back into the top 12 for Johansson, and former Canuck goaltender Jacob Markstrom starting for the Swedes. Their goaltending has not been very good.
Nope.
Whether it was Gustafsson or it was Markstrom. Bad goals.
And if
you need to fix that if they have any chance against the States.
If you're the Latvian coach right now, that's what you're saying. It's like, they've been letting in goals. We're not done here yet.
A reminder, line combinations throughout the tournament, updated daily. Check out the DFO's line combo page at dailyfaceoff.com/teams. Time now for our menu. It's brought to you by our friends at Greta. And we're going to be there Friday for the semi. We don't know the time yet. Could be very early. Could be the 7:40 start. Could be the 12 noon start. But some of us will be there.
A rare breakfast menu at Greta? It's possible.
So come on down and join, watch some hockey with us. If you're looking for a venue for your next group event, Greta offers a fantastic menu of unpretentious street food, plus the arcade that encircles the bar. You got the private riser in the back. It's absolutely perfect for your next event. For more info, to book it, go to gretabar.com, Greta 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. Jeff Merrick's going to join us here. Is that he?
Yes.
Yeah. Jeff Merrick, we missed Jeff last week on all things Canadian Olympic hockey and beyond. Somebody wanted to relitigate, what was it even called?
The World Cup?
But not the real World Cup, like a made-up World Cup.
What do you mean? It's the only World Cup we've seen.
No. 96.
Well, yes. It was the restart. Anyways. 20 years previous.
Anyways, Merrick joins us. We waste a lot of time in that interview, frankly. Then Cam Robinson joins us. We'll talk
good nostalgia, folks. Good nostalgia.
We'll talk prospects that the Canucks might be able to pry out of the hands of playoff teams. We'll also talk draft prospects with the WHL prospect game going on today. Plus, on Elias Pettersson and the LA Kings' interest. We'll talk to Jeff about that as well. And then Ashton Bell of your Vancouver Goldeneyes, a former Olympian and Olympic champion. You're telling me she was the last cut from this year's team? Frankly, should have brought her, given the way the Canadian team is looking. And Chloe Primerano. I heard a CBC analyst say, not only does the Canadian team not necessarily have the push from below immediately, there's not even a Canadian player expected to go in the first round of the WHL draft, or the PWHL draft.
Really? Wow.
Gosh. This could get ugly against the States tomorrow. Thursday. I sure hope not.
Well, she gives a very interesting answer when we ask her about the game plan that with this group, not the normal game plan. If you're the coach of this group going into this game, what should the game plan be? It's interesting.
And the Goldeneyes are back practicing at the Coliseum and at the Agrodome. We've mentioned this, that the schedule has been a little bit. Well, we're all new to the PWHL. The schedule has been irregular. You have these takeover games that are going on in neutral markets to see their interest in women's hockey for the next expansion flight. But also you have the Olympic break. The Goldeneyes begin a 5-game homestand at the Coliseum a week from Sunday against Toronto. It's a matinee on March 1st. And here's the thing. They have been such a hot ticket. They have sold a lot of tickets for all 5 of these games already. So if you're interested in seeing the Goldeneyes, and they're making a push for the playoffs, and of course they have 5 Olympians who are returning, including the goaltender Emmerich Smashmeyer, including Sarah Nurse up front, a couple of defensemen there, Surrey's Jen Gardner on the wing. Get on that quickly, because they have been of huge interest in the Metro Vancouver market here in their inaugural expansion season, the PWHL. Later in the program, we will talk Vancouver Whitecaps FC on the eve of their opening game in the 2026 season. They're down in Costa Rica, CONCACAF Champions Cup. They're here at BC Place on Saturday, for heaven's sake.
Two of the next 5 days, you've got Whitecaps
MLS
matches.
opener on Saturday as the defending Western Conference champions open their MLS schedule. So we'll get into the personnel there. Canada at the Olympics, already mentioned that. Routes to getting to 10 gold medals or 25 medals total. We'll talk some of that. Seahawks, some interesting news there with the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker. It's all coming up on the program. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day. Blake, I was a loser again yesterday, and in fact, I have been so terrible, I'm trying to remember when my last win was. It may well have been before I went away to Mexico.
Really? And you were on such a heater
I was
there
on
for
a heater for like 2-3 weeks there, just ticking them off day after day, easy peasy, and now I'm riding the other side of the wave. Germany actually favored against the Slovaks, despite having to play today and likely asking goaltender Philip Grubauer to go back-to-back. I love the way Slavkovsky and Nemec are playing for the Slovaks. They have the extra rest, and I'm getting more value on them. -105 to Germany's -115.
Canada reportedly playing Czechia in the quarterfinals.
No, that's confirmed.
Oh, is it confirmed? Okay. I'm taking Canada -17.5 goals, just to get some extra cheddar.
Is Philip Roenick leaving this game immediately?
No.
Stahl and Vimelka, are they tapping out?
It's hard to get value, obviously, in this matchup.
Needless to say.
So the best place is to try to go with the first goal scorer in the game.
Macklin Celebrini.
No, I'm going to go with the number one. Connor McDavid. This is his tournament. He's going to
Sydney starts the games, though. First shift?
No, first shift. 7 minutes in. Connor McDavid, plus 650. So, when you hear that, it's Connor McDavid, for heaven's sakes.
Yep.
Plus 650.
This segment of presentation of Bet365, whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Jeff Merrick coming up next. Garrison Price from the historic Wall Center. We welcome in Jeff Merrick.
Hey.
Of the Sheet, weekdays here on the Nation Network. We missed him last week, but very pleased to have him back on the program. How are you?
Good to be back. Yeah, great. The tournament, the hockey, has kind of been underwhelming, so I'm crossing my fingers for some better hockey now that it counts, folks.
It's gone according to chalk.
It's kind of been like, all right, this is the script, this is how it goes, and these are the blowouts. And Slovakia Sweden on Saturday was a really good and interesting game with one of the most unique twisty finishes that we've ever seen. But other than that, I kind of looked at this tournament, both the men's and women's side, and kind of went, yep, according to script.
There was the one group where they all finished 2-1 and they needed tiebreakers. That one group of the three had some drama to it. The rest was all according to chalk. You are old enough to remember when Czechia took down Gretzky and company at an Olympic Games. Is there any PTSD there?
In what sense?
I don't think anybody was worried about that game.
Oh, I see what you mean.
They had Hasek, Blake. I
kind of looked at that. Like, if we're gonna do the historic, we have to remember one thing of that game specifically, and that one specific shootout. One, the ice for shootouts were relatively new at that point, and the ice didn't get scraped. And Robert Reichel was the only player that scored on Patrick Waugh. I know we all like to say, oh, Dominik Hasek this and Dominik Hasek that. I think we look back on it. I certainly look at that and say, for both sides, the issue was, Hasek was great, Waugh was great. The issue was the ice. And the even bigger issue was Joe Sakic was injured. And, and to me, that ended up being the story. But so far as is there PTSD for Canadian hockey fans going back to 98? I don't think so, because right now this team does look like an absolute juggernaut of a team, specifically up front, with an emerging star in Macklin Celebrini, an emerging star internationally, well known certainly in the NHL.
Here's Big Lindros. He's got a score. No. Bob Cole will echo in my ears, and it was the middle of the night Eastern time as I was watching it, Jeff. I had an 8:30 class at Carleton. Did make the class, although everybody was in the dumps.
Okay, so two minds on this one. I'm glad you stuck with me here, because I was hoping you hung me around on 98 to make one more point. Where do you guys sit on this one? Okay, so Wayne Gretzky, and even by his own admission, was never good at penalty shots.
No.
He never was. Right? I know in Toronto, everyone makes a lot about, Bunny Larocque has stopped Wayne Gretzky on a penalty shot. Wow, this is incredible. Wayne was bad on penalty shots. He just was. And again, the bigger issue was Joe Sakic. But nonetheless, so Mark Crawford not putting him in. I remember Doug McLean saying to me once, because I was having this conversation with Doug, and Doug said, look, Jeff, it goes like this. As a coach, if you're going to go down, you better have your best guy in there to protect you politically.
Yeah.
And my point was, you're not interested in politics of the NHL at that point. You put in the guys you think can score. The reality is, Wayne Gretzky's not good at this. And Doug said, it doesn't matter. As a coach, you needed to protect yourself and be able to say, we had the greatest player of all time taking a shot, and even he couldn't beat Dominik Hasek.
It was twofold, though, using Gretzky and using Bork.
Well, but
that's
but people forget Bork was the master at that shooting accuracy competition that started in the NHL All-Star Game, and they thought if anyone could pick a spot on Hasek, it's Ray Bork.
Yes. So Bork had like two sneaky great skills. Well, a bunch, but really like two sneaky great skills. One, accuracy shooting, and the second one was face-offs. Ray Bork and Boston were doing like traditionally, like you look at like Alan Stanley in '67, and the Toronto beats Montreal. Like Alan Stanley would take faceoffs in Toronto's own zone all the time. Ray Bork was really good at faceoffs too. But like Matty, you're right. Like he was expert at picking corners on goaltenders. So I do understand that, and like I will defend Mark Crawford on. I always have on that decision. Because his instinct was, I need the best players to win this game as opposed to protect myself politically for when I come back.
Yeah, the interesting part there, and people in British Columbia will tell you about that, was Shanahan as the last guy as a power forward shooter. Now, Fleury, Nieuwendyk, Lindros, I think we could all get behind, was that a Trevor Linden spot, given that he had scored the only goal for Canada.
Yeah.
With Steve Yzerman in the box, incidentally. Yzerman took 2 minors in the third period of that game. Anyway, enough of that. We digress into history. We all love history.
No,
let's get into contemporary. How much do you love Macklin Celebrini?
Oh, gee, he invented oxygen, this kid did. So here's a story about Celebrini. So after he scores that penalty shot on Sunday, I start sending out some texts and checking around. Because Mike Johnson mentions on the broadcast, like that's the Kucherov move. Come in and shoot 7-hole. Like that is classic Kucherov penalty shot goal. And so it turns out that he has been, because he's a big fan of Nikita Kucherov, and he's been practicing that move with the San Jose Sharks for a month and a half. And apparently everybody in San Jose, when they saw him go to the dot, was like, he's doing the Kucherov. And sure enough, he does the Kucherov and nails it, and it's a thing, and it's an absolute thing of beauty. I know it's a blowout game, and he's not doing it against Igor Shesterkin or Ilya Sorokin. Like, I understand that. We all do. But every single hurdle you place in front of this kid, he jumps, so he clears it, and it's not even close, to the point where it looks like he's been playing for 10 years. And one of my favorite photographs so far of these games is that shot of him about to skate down the bench, high fives in the train, and Sidney Crosby has this, like, he's just like beaming on the bench as Macklin Celebrini is skating towards him. And all I can think about is, what's going on between Celebrini's ears when the guy that he grew up admiring and idolizing is on the bench smiling as he's coming down the bench to high five all these like future Hall of Famers because of what he's just done. And he's been in the NHL for a year and a half. And you have like Nathan McKinnon saying he might already be the second best player in the world. I don't know. We always talk about players distinguishing themselves at the Olympics on the biggest stages, and coming out of these games so far, there's no one that's done themselves. I guess maybe Clara with the Anaheim Ducks playing for Italy with the goaltenders stopping 50 shots a night. But as far as like taking their fame to a whole different level and the game to a whole different level, Celebrini's it, man.
We asked John Shannon this yesterday, but I want to ask you it too. Does it make you think that a version of this could have been done by Schaefer or Bedard if they were on the team?
It's a great question. I do wonder about Schaefer. To me, the reason why Celebrini works so well with his team, like Bedard offensively, make no mistake about it, he's supremely gifted. I mean, this is obvious, but he does a complete game that Macklin Celebrini has, yet. Will he develop it? Don't know. He's still a young hockey player, 20 years old. but Celebrini's already got that. I don't know that we would have seen this out of Bedard because I don't think that Bedard would have been in the same position that Macklin Celebrini is at in his career right now. And Connor McDavid, I don't want to say like it's easy to play with Connor McDavid, put your stick down, go to the net. Connor McDavid can be difficult to play with. Like, you have to be an elite level thinker to play with Connor McDavid. Like, I know, like, remember what he used to drag around like Benoit Pouliot and El Yakupov up and down the ice and made these guys, et cetera. Well, that's true. But much like in the same way that Chris Kunitz could read Sidney Crosby's backhand better than anybody else, and that's what made Chris Kunitz work with Sidney Crosby, Macklin Celebrini can think at that level with Connor McDavid, and that speed isn't intimidating whatsoever. And to me, that's like one of the ultimate compliment pay this guy is he's on the same wavelength with Connor McDavid. So I don't know that I would have seen that out of Bedard. Matthew Schaefer, perhaps. I still have I don't know what I would have expected out of Matthew Schaefer.
You're so hung up on the young kids in 2030 in the French Alps already. The other thing about McDavid, he insists on pristine passing. It's his pet peeve when passes aren't taped to tape, which is why Draisaitl has worked on his passing so much over the years that it's got to be right there for McDavid. Otherwise, you get the grumpy
it's funny
Connor
too.
Look.
It's funny too because Cassie mentioned that before one of the games that it's his pet peeve, and two things jump to mind. One, how Wayne Gretzky would always say that going wide was he considered the laziest play in hockey. Like, that was the one play that he absolutely said that's like the laziest play in hockey is going offside. And to the point about passing, and she brought up Jesse Puljujärvi with McDavid, and that's why McDavid didn't have a lot of time for Puljujärvi. And I remember talking to a lot of the guys at that point and them saying he also a drill buster too. And that was another reason why you find yourself on the going through the exit door on a team. But the passing has been crisp. But the other thing about the passing too, if you have a collection of superstars, Andrew Raycroft brought this point up on Morning Cup of Hockey last year, and it really found a home with me because I never really considered it like this, specifically on a power play. When you have a power play with a lot of elite level players, it doesn't always work. And we see this with teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins historically, right? Like Malkin and Letang and Crosby. Like, how come the power play is so awful? And Raycroft brought up a great point. He said elite level players don't like to do simple things. They like to do like elite things, and that's why they're elite players. So it's hard to get them just to do a effective, basic, but move the puck around quickly power play, because they always want to do something that distinguishes themselves from everybody else, because that's how they've always played. And the thing about Celebrini is too, it's not as if he's like toe dragging everybody or trying to, he's like, hey, Corey Perry wants his move back. He's able to play at an elite level, but also play a really simple game perfectly. And I think that's what you're seeing between him and Connor McDavid. And it's beautiful to watch. Get the rumors started, by the way.
The other hypothetical
contract up in a couple of years. Yes.
Going to San Jose.
The other hypothetical I have been pondering here is watching him do this at this level. How lucky, I wish we could have seen this. If there's one more year of experience for Connor McDavid and Nathan MacKinnon going into that Team North America at the World Cup, could that Team North America have absolutely mopped the floor with the rest of the teams if those guys maybe have one more year of experience? Because McDavid's got 70 NHL games when that World Cup is happening. If he's got 150 NHL games, does Team North America win that World Cup?
You know, I'll tell you something. I remember watching that until the afternoon. It was a great game. It was Team North America versus Sweden. And I remember sitting with Tyler Dello, who's now the assistant GM of the Carolina Hurricanes, sitting there with Tyler, watching it. We're like, oh, this is awesome. It's like middle of the afternoon. Like, tickets are it's a quote unquote not a premium game. It's like tickets are like $20. Like, this is awesome. What a great way to spend the afternoon. And we had the conversation because everyone was captivated by Team North America. America. I remember John Cooper once telling me that this was the best team that he was ever part of. Best team, because like look at all the guys that are like going to dominate this game in like 5 years, and we're seeing it now. We're seeing it at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Here's what I want, because I think your point's a really good one, Blake. Take it to another place here. If it would have ended up Team North America versus Team Canada, what would the crowd have done?
Yeah.
Don't forget, everybody loved Team North America. Like and again, the whole thing's in Toronto. That to me would have been one of the most fascinating crowds I think I would have ever seen, and we were robbed of it because I really don't know what the answer is, and it'll never be back. You're never going to replicate that again, and hockey lost.
They'll never do it again because they might win.
No, because it was a shit tournament. So why are we spending time on it all these years later? What's with the woulda, coulda, shoulda today? I mean, for God, it's a made-up, stupid tournament, and we're spending time on it. We got a freaking Olympic Games going on.
Hang on.
Corral this back to the right place.
This is the good stuff.
No.
This is the good stuff.
So I did this Zoom thing during COVID for the NHL where it was a return of Team North America, and exactly what you just said, Maddie, is exactly what Jack Eichel said. Why are we talking about this? We didn't do anything.
Exactly.
Team North America didn't win anything, but
it did not.
That was a team that captured everybody's imagination.
It did not capture everybody's imagination.
It did. They were the
Nobody
favorites.
was watching the damn tournament. It sucked. It was made up. It was contrived. It did not move the sport one iota forward. And it is not close to an Olympic Games where you're playing for one of the greatest prizes in global sport. Back on topic.
That is on topic. We're talking about the performances of young players.
How much are you sweating? How much are you sweating the Josh Morrissey injury and the Canadian defense and goal prevention?
I can understand. It's a good question. I'm not. Whenever I criticize two teams this year in this tournament, Canada and the USA, I always feel like I am really nitpicking things. Like I'm just trying to find something to create some type of talk point here. But really, if Josh Morrissey's not available to go, I don't. Considering the insulation around and the varied players that can step in that already have, I don't have really any concerns. And so far I don't have any concerns about the goaltending, much like I have zero concerns about the United States. And that's what makes this thing so far so great. The only thing that I worry about with the United States for their sake is they may have to go through Sweden and Finland here. And could there be an upset to get there and spoil the big party that we're all expecting next Sunday in the very, very early morning hours? Yes. That's about it. I'm not jumping in. Neither.
It's not nitpicking. It's fine lines. And if you're Doug Armstrong and if you're John Cooper and that coaching staff, you have to be mindful of the fine lines, because the slightest mistake, as we learned in 2010, can cost you a gold medal.
Is this defense to the point where Josh Morrissey at 85% is better than any of the other guys that are currently at 100%?
No.
Like, this isn't jumping into a Winnipeg Jets playoff roster. Of course he does at 85%.
Bingo.
But here, nah.
I'm with Blake. I'll take the other guys at 100 over Josh Morrissey at 85.
Okay, last question from me on Pettersson. What have you made of Pettersson in the tournament thus far? And there's an interesting story here in the province today about LA's interest in Pettersson, particularly given the Fiala injury. Put it all together for me.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't think that the Los Angeles Kings want Anze Kopitar to end his career in the regular season. They want him to end his career in the playoffs and they don't go out and make a move like they just did, bringing in Artemi Panarin. If they don't have eyes towards that, the Fiala injury could be devastating. It would not surprise me whatsoever to see the Los Angeles Kings try to make a move for Elias Pettersson. The problem is, do they have the assets to do it? This is not going to be a simple trade.
Byfield,
right? Like
Byfield.
Okay, but that's fine. Okay, and I understand Byfield, but let me go another with you. So if you're swapping out then Byfield and Elias Pettersson, you've already Anze Kopitar is retiring. Philip Deneau is back playing with the Montreal Canadiens. you still have a problem down the middle, and who's going to win, specifically in the Westerns, if you don't have centers. It is a murderer's row of centers in the Western Conference. It's insane, and you go up against them every single night. And I don't think that Ken Holland wants to disarm himself that way.
He wants both of them. If he's acquiring Pettersson, he wants Byfield and Pettersson.
He wants both. Yeah. So that's what I keep coming back to. How are they going to get this one done? There have been a couple of moments where, as a Vancouver Canucks fan, I've looked at Elias Pettersson and said, can we have that? You know, like stopping at the crease, jamming pucks in front, playing hard, where I've said, Vancouver Canucks fans are saying, we want more of that. Sometimes the Olympics can be a sort of a great restart, and we're all waiting for Elias Pettersson to show us those signs, and you hope for Vancouver's sake, and for the players' sake for that matter, that this can be the restart for Elias Pettersson on this season / his career. But there have been those moments where I've looked specifically all around the crease where you say to yourself, man, Vancouver Canucks fans are saying, we want that version of Pettersson here. If that makes sense.
Marvelous stuff, Jeff. Thank you for this. Tight time schedule this week. And next week we'll rehash the 81 Canada Cup. And would it have been closer than 8-1 against the Soviets if not for Gilbert Perreault's broken ankle?
I'm game. People will love it.
Listen, Mike Liut, one of, in his time, the best goaltenders. Okay, Mike Liut was fantastic. That tournament mentally crushed him.
He's game.
Anyhow,
you're crushing him right now.
I'm great. I'm game. Do 81 Canada Cup. We'll do 76 with all those Hall of Famers and Vlad Zarilla and Daryl Sittler. Oh, come on. We'll do all of it, Maddie. It'll be fun.
Thank you, Jeff. Enjoy the quarter, semis, and medal round. Appreciate it.
Thanks, boys.
Week.
Talk next week.
Sick Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center. This next segment brought to you by Levelwear. Golf having a moment right now, and not just the traditional sense. It used to feel buttoned up. Now way more cultural. You're seeing athletes from all sorts of sports, even surfers, using it as a way to hang out, just enjoy the game differently. And that shift is exactly where Hurley's collaboration with Levelwear comes in. Hurley brings that laid-back board sports energy, and the collection pulls inspiration from Hawaiian and coastal prints, relaxed, expressive, rooted in lifestyle. Levelwear takes that inspiration, brings it to life through performance-driven, sustainably made apparel, actually built to move and play. The result is the Fairwaves collection, modern golf silhouettes that feel lighter, more wearable, less rigid, respectful of the game's roots, but definitely not stuck in tradition. This collection is live, available at Levelwear's website. Go to levelwear.com. Check out the polos, hoodies, hats, and casuals. That's levelwear.com. Cam Robinson is the director of everything at Elite Prospects. We missed him last week. He was doing some hockey coaching. Good to have him back on the program. How you doing, fella?
Doing fine. Yeah, like I was just saying, gonna pop over on the walk on the Hullo boat there and head over to your guys' way here this afternoon. Yeah.
And coming for that WHL top prospect scheme. We'll get into that in a second. But Cam, let's start with prospects because we had some fun with Harm Dial on Friday looking at prospects that might be pryable from the hands of playoff teams as the Canucks approach the March 6th trade deadline. The roster freeze lifts on Sunday. I want to start, buddy, with a guy whose name I'm just seeing all over the place when I look at hockey prospecting. Alexander Zhuravsky, a Montreal Canadiens pick, Russian winger, and you've got some news and info there. What's up?
Yeah, so I don't cover a lot of the KHL or Russia these days. Just there's not a ton of prospects coming out of there. So obviously I'll check on some of the young ones, but once they're drafted, they're kind of off my radar unless they're with the Canucks. So I checked in with some people. Obviously, having a big year. Second round pick. He's 18 years old. He's got 37 and 46. The numbers are eye popping. You look at that NHLE and it's, he looks like he could be a superstar. But, so granted, great production for a kid his age in that league. But, firstly, the KHL is a weaker league than it has been in years past. And that's just, a result of a lot of players that aren't Russian don't want to play there right now. So they're opting for different European leagues. So it's a little watered down. His 5-on-5 involvement has been very limited. What I'm told, very limited. So excellent on the power play when he has the time and space on the power play to use his hands. His hands shine. He has an NHL level shot, but feet are limiting. And I would say that his impact at 5-on-5 is limited as well. So maybe a little bit of a masking of some of the deficiencies being propped up by some of that power play work.
If he's pryable, is that Connor Garland, or would that require an Elias Pettersson?
No, that shouldn't require an Elias Pettersson, I wouldn't think. I think you'd be buying into a lot of the hype and not actually really assessing the player and what his likely future is if you're hoping to get him in an Elias Pettersson trade. So yeah, I'd say certainly more in the Connor Garland range or potentially below, but it all depends on how Montreal really feels about him.
Since we're talking Pettersson, let's talk on this province story. Ben Kuzma reporting the LA interest in Pettersson has only increased since the Olympics. Of course, Elias had a couple of goals against Slovakia. And then, of course, LA has all this cap space now with Kevin Fiala out for the season with a broken leg and leg surgery suffered against Canada as he was playing for Switzerland. We're asking on our Yellow Dog poll question, Byfield for Pettersson. Cam, who says no?
I mean, who says no? First of all, I'll say that I don't think LA is the only team that has even more interest in Elias Pettersson after this, during this Olympic time. And it's what I've been saying. It's what many people have been saying. It's why teams are still interested in him, is that you get him in the right situation, he can be a factor for you again. And you're seeing it, with the Swedes there too. It's not like he's playing 22 minutes a night. He's getting first power play and he's getting first line minutes, but you can see when he's playing with good players in a good structure, he could have more than 2 goals and 2 points at this event too, right? Like he got stoned on day one there and ended up pulling the goalie out with yanking him there too. So he's generating, he looks good. He's good defensively. He's a good player. Like he might not ever be that 100+ point guy again, but he should, if you throw him on LA, you throw him on Carolina, you throw him on Colorado or something like that, dollars to donuts, he's an 85+ point guy. When it comes to Quinton Byfield, I think everybody knows how I felt about him for years, right? I was probably the only person on earth who put him at number 1 over Lafreniere that year. I truly believed that big man was going to develop into this incredible player. He's still only 23. It does take bigger players longer. You do have to give him that runway. Look at Juraj Slavkovsky, right? Like he's just 21 right now too, but it's like he flashes at the Olympics and it's like, let's judge him when he's 24, 25. So with Byfield, I think, he's played his 300 games in the NHL at this point. Plus, it's time. It's time for him to break out as he enters into that age 24 season, or else it's kind of his last best chance to really reach that potential that he had. So I think it'd be an interesting deal for both teams because, LA has invested so much time and development into this player, and he's supposed to be the heir apparent to Anze Kopitar. But if you want to accelerate, I mean, they just went and got Panarin. You lose Fiala. They're obviously looking to make waves right now. It's not the craziest thing. And if you're Vancouver, you get out from that contract, you get a younger player, you get a big center, right? You've got some smaller guys coming up behind there. Marco Rossi, Braden Coots, they're not big players. It's like that would be an excellent big number 1 man if you think he's actually going to be that true number 1. And I still think he could have it. He's never really got a chance to run wild on that Kings team. He's never had a season where he's seen over half of the power play deployment or regular first line minutes, but analytics show that incremental steps offensively have taken place, even if the raw counting stats don't really prove that as well. So I do think there's an opportunity if you put him with good players and you just run him out there for 4 minutes on a top power play every night and just let him make mistakes and be creative, that he could become that elite piece still.
And at 55 points, if that's where he's going to end up, like that's what his salary is worth. He's only making 6.25, so he's not like being undervalued right now in any way, shape, or form. Do you think we always say to be cautious about World Junior sample sizes and affecting opinions, but at the pro level, we know what these players are for the most part. Is Elias Pettersson's performance going to affect how people perceive him, do you think, here at these Olympic Games?
Yeah, simply because of like the situation that it's been in Vancouver. I think that there has been extenuating circumstances, right? It's that it's just been so much noise, so many things that are off ice, dressing room stuff, the team being just so poor. And it's hard to really shine in those situations over a couple seasons now. And so teams are looking for, I'm sure they were watching him closely at the Four Nations too, where he unfortunately did disappoint, I would say. He didn't rise to the occasion when he got put with those good players. And so this is another opportunity for him to be like, I'm still a good player. And you put me with these guys, these all-star type players, I can really still play and get out of my own head and get away from the noise that is Vancouver and being a 32nd team overall. So I do think that even a small sample size is such a big stage, and that it's just such a, shift from what he's been doing in Vancouver, that opportunity to shine and prove to teams that, hey, I'm still worth it. And I've said it for going back to last year too, that there are smart teams still believe in this player.
At the Olympics, it's unbelievable how much the top picks overall in the NHL entry draft have begun to shine for their respective teams. It's almost like you get good players if you get to pick number one overall. As the Canucks trend towards that position, it underscores how important this choice is, isn't it?
Oh, it's literally, sometimes you can get very lucky and you can get an Erik Karlsson at 15th overall or something like that. You can get these Hall of Fame type guys, but primarily it's like, if you are going to get something that's going to change the complexion of your franchise, it's going to be in the top three. And it's more likely than not going to be number one. Rare does a class produce more than one truly great player. Sometimes they sprinkle in a couple more that are a level below. So yeah, absolutely. And that's why you don't rush through a rebuild. That's why you want to accumulate as much as you humanly can. San Jose, Chicago, you add, you try to get as many top 2, top 3 picks for 3-4 years. And then now it's time. Use some of those assets, some of those tons of second round picks that you had, use some of those mid firsts that you accumulated as well to package up and get more, now players, or sign them as free agents, because now all of a sudden you're attractive. You've got a Macklin Celebrini on your team. You got a Michael Misa, you got a Will Smith, you've got a Sam Dickinson. It's like, UFAs are going to be excited to come and play with those kids, right?
I want to go back to prospecting with them. Sorry, I was just talking to Mike. We got something coming up here. You have long told us about the Carolina Hurricanes' interest in Elias Pettersson, and of course, Carolina looking to upgrade that center spot. Now, we've talked about Logan Stankoven, the former Kamloops Blazer, of course, and any potential trade scenarios there. But I want to... it's Zorofsky and this kid, Bradley Nadeau, Carolina prospect, forward. He's a Acadian from New Brunswick who came out to the Penticton Vs to play his junior hockey, won a couple of championships with the Vs, absolutely ripped up the BCHL to the tune of 113 points in 54 games before becoming a first-rounder, ripping up college hockey at Maine. And Cammy's 44 points in 36 AHL games this year after a splendid AHL debut last year. Talk to me about Bradley Nadeau, whether you think he would be pryable from the Carolina Hurricanes grips.
Yeah, he's pryable for sure. And I mean, like I remember watching him in that draft eligible season when he was in Penticton, and him and his brother, 2 years older than him at the time, as a 19-year-old, they destroyed. It wasn't even fair, right? Like they barely lost a game that season. I remember they were playing Alberni in the finals. It was a 4-0 sweep and then some. Like the brooms were out, I think, after the first period of game one. This kid is basically a supercharged version of Lakira Mackey. He's an elite finisher, a better finisher, I would say. I think he's got better playmaking. He's a better skater, even though he's not an elite skater. Similar size. They're not big guys. And then, kind of the knock on him was, like not super physical, not great defensively. I think he's proven over the last couple of years in the AHL, like improved defensively, improved physical output. It suggests strongly that this is like a true top 6 option long-term in the NHL. Like the production that he's put up in the American League in the last 2 seasons at his age, we do not see that very often. When we do see it, it's usually like a Euro who's coming over, like a Pasternak or a Willie Nylander or somebody who's going to have first line upside. So he's a very talented player, but I do think Carolina, they do a good job of stockpiling assets and then using them. And so I think that if the right player came along, and if it's Elias Pettersson, I do think that they would be open to moving, just like I think that they would have been open to moving, Nikishin and Nadeau for a guy like Quinn Hughes. I think that they would have been open to doing those things because they value players that can help them immediately, and their window is wide open, right? And it won't be forever, even though they are still a really young team and they have so many young prospects. They're built to last, I should say. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see if the Canucks are willing to put some of their bigger bait on the table here before the deadline. I saw Thomas Drance reporting that he has yet to get an indication that the Canucks are looking to shop their veterans who have term remaining. But as Harm Dial reminded us last week, look, it's not just about March 6th and this deadline. He's also looking at pre-July 1st trades before the new league year begins. And, of course, some of that would be in and around the draft.
Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, a big night. 2 goals. That shot seems to be getting better. He ripped that one from the left circle. Are we seeing an extra step taken by Lekkerimäki, an extra comfort level at the very least at the pro game?
I mean, he's got a lot of experience in the pro game now over in Sweden and over in the American League. Now you want to see that. That's you want to see him. He doesn't necessarily have to take over games because that's not exactly the type of player he is, but you do want to see that shot. Number one, the volume, right? We want to see more volume shooting. And so he is showing that, maybe not game over game, but we're seeing it more regularly. And then yes, finishing, being more confident, trying a little more skill plays before you let it fly, because the kid has loads of talent. And when he gets hot, like all shooters, he's gonna score in bunches, and then he's gonna cool down. So it is good to see that he had a big night, and that you want to see that carry over. When the break's over, get in the lineup and then put him in a position. I sound like a broken record. Put him in places that he can shoot plenty and score some goals and get that momentum going at the NHL level too. Because once again, it's not like this team is flush with prospects that have one-shot goal scoring ability. There's a couple, and he's definitely one of them. And it's pretty integral that he breaks right for them, or you get him out of the system and you try to move him in a package for someone that you do believe in.
Number one,
go ahead.
Number one overall, the presumptive choice, Gavin Mckenna. He will not be a felon. That was taken off the table. He could be guilty of misdemeanors. We'll find that out at a later date. But he got back on the ice versus Michigan over the course of last weekend. Just 1 assist in 2 games. But am I reading this right? He had 16 shots on goal over the course of those 2 games, and he played 53 minutes. Do we fault him for just the 1 point? Do we say it was a good effort overall? I mean, obviously, Penn State did not play very well. They only got a tie out of the 2-game set. But you tell me if Gavin McKenna's performance leads you to believe he's getting past the incident, if you will.
I only watched the Friday night game. I did see the start of Saturday night, but I didn't get to see the whole thing. But I was dialed in to watch that Friday night. I almost hopped on a plane. I felt like I should go there. But, let's just say that Michigan's a very good team, too. Number 2 ranked in the nation right now, have been number 1 for long stretches. Very good team. So the fact that, even Penn as number 6 pushed them to overtime in a shootout there in the first game, that was a good showing for them. I thought McKenna was fine. He had the playmaking flashes. He put 9 shots on goal. But none of them were like super high danger, I wouldn't say. He was flinging up. He had started to come out of his shell, I think, a little bit post-World Juniors, where there was some more grit, there was some more effort off puck, there was some more back checking and using his speed a little bit more. And I thought that first game, that Friday night game, was a bit of more of the early season McKenna, where he's still almost obviously the most talented player on his squad anyways. I mean, Jackson Smith had a hell of a night on Friday night, but you put those 2 teams out there like him and Hage, and there's some guys that shine, but you still kind of, it left me being like, he was fine. He was fine. He wasn't great. And I had a scout text me who was at Nodak that night. And he's like, "Are you at Michigan? How's McKenna looking?" I was like, "Nah, fine." He's like, "Okay, par for the course," sort of thing. You still want to see a little bit more from him, but granted, a lot of noise. And, the Yost kids, that student section, they were letting him know too, right? There was chance of, go to jail, and they were, booing him every time he touched the puck. And when he was coming out on the ice to open the game and stuff. So it was a pretty difficult atmosphere for him to be in, but I think it's just important that he got out there, got the reps, played a ton of minutes, like you said, threw some pucks on net, and see if he can get that kind of behind him a little bit and get moving in the right direction again.
Well, there's a very good law school at the University of Michigan, so if he needed a defense lawyer, there may well have been one there in the students section. Are the Ruck twins from Masoyas, are they playing in this WHL Top Prospects game that you're attending tonight, Cam?
I sure hope so. I haven't seen that they pulled out yet, so yeah, they should both be there. I'm looking forward to getting to see them here. I haven't seen them live yet, so I've seen them on tape, obviously, several times. So looking forward to getting to see those boys, because what they're doing right now, it is noteworthy, to say the least. I know that just talking about Zurowski there too, is that like sometimes points don't tell the whole story. But at some point, it's like these guys just continue to produce at an elite level, maybe not the most translatable ways into pro hockey, into the NHL, but boy, oh boy, like they can move the puck around to each other. They can finish off plays. They find each other. Not quite Sedin-like, but there you go. A little back pass.
That was Sedinery, though. Look at that. Marcus Staliam with the back pass as he's going around the net, for those of you on visual platforms. So an absolutely beauty goal from the Ruck twins from Masoyas, so playing for Willie Desjardins in Medicine Hat. Just give me a name that you're looking at tonight in this WHL Top Prospects game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch. I'm really excited to see those Ruck boys. I mean, Daxon Rudolph too. I haven't got to see him live this season yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. Obviously Carson Carls I've seen a number of times too. But again, top prospect there. So a little unfortunate. No Ryan Lynn, obviously with the wrist injury, and then Mathis Preston too is going to be out. So that's too bad. The two Giants players there. Was really looking forward to seeing Preston, hoping he would get back in time. But so a couple of big names out of the lineup. But there's going to be some other guys too. There's going to be some mid-round picks there too. They're going to be looking to shine, and there's scouts are going to be there. It is just a WHL top prospects game, but I texted a whole bunch of people, and it seems like it's going to be a pretty full house with NHL teams. So it should, hopefully they put on a good show.
And looks like a halfway decent class out of the Dub, particularly when you talk about how more players are matriculating to the WHL. Carls, of course, is the big left shot defenseman with the Prince George Cougars. Goalie fight last night between the Cougars and the Vs, incidentally. And Daxon Rudolph is the right shot defenseman in Prince Albert, who's playing with our friend Braden Coots, and they have been sizzling since the Coots trade. Travel safely, my friend. Thank you for all the intel here. We will catch up next week.
Thanks, boys. Talk soon.
So Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center. Our next guest plays defense for the Vancouver Goldeneyes, the PWHL. They got a 5-game homestand that begins a week from Sunday at the Pacific Coliseum.
At the end of this run, there's no excuse. You will have had to have attended a Goldeneyes game.
That's it. Yeah. We said they went away for a bit, but now they're back, and they're back in a big way starting Sunday, March 1st at 1 p.m. at the Pacific Coliseum. Ashen Bell is also an Olympic champion, a 3-time world champion, and she joins us now. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're
good.
Fantastic. We're enjoying the hockey, and we're enjoying the Goldeneyes, and especially the love and support in the crowds that you guys are getting at the Pacific Coliseum. Ashton, what's it been like to be part of an expansion team in a market like this and seeing all the love and support?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. I think it exceeded all of my expectations. I definitely, loved this city before coming here, and then now getting to play here in an expansion team and being here out west has, definitely surpassed all my expectations. And the fans and the energy and the support has been incredible right from our first game. And it just continues to get better. So we're pretty lucky to be here.
Talk about the digs you're playing in, because for a lot of people in British Columbia, the Pacific Coliseum is a special place that has a lot of history.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Liz and our business side was kind of filling us in all at the beginning of all the history at the Coliseum and at the Agrodome as well. And it's just so cool that we get to, be a part of that and get to have that as our primary facility. So we're, very grateful.
I'm very happy for you that they got a new ice plant at the Agrodome. My daughter always played at the Agrodome. It was not good ice, so I'm ever so pleased that you guys have helped to change that. It's been a great year for you guys to come into, because the men across town have depressed the vibes. You guys have raised the vibes, and it's created a different culture. I haven't been to a PWHL game outside of Vancouver. Is that sort of the atmosphere that you see the other teams getting? Sort of this vibrant. I don't even know how to describe sort of just the joy of the game vibes that are in the stands.
It's a good word for it. Joy.
Is that elsewhere too, do you think?
Yeah, totally. I think I played in Ottawa my first couple of years, and I thought that experience was special as well, and the fans were great there. But Vancouver is definitely different. There's just like a different energy, a different vibe. Like you said, people want to be there. It's kind of like a big party, and they just, enjoy being a part of that experience. And they don't really care, what product we put on the ice, and they're going to show up no matter what. And we're just, very lucky to get to play in front of them and to have them behind us.
You're playing for an expansion team, but the league is an expansion league for all intents and purposes, still in its infancy. What do you make of how this league has grown in its short time? Does everybody have a ton of confidence here that they've got the right model here to make this work?
Yeah, totally. I think, how much success it had in that first year was incredible. And every year it's just getting better and better. And I think I didn't, think an expansion would happen so quickly, but they've done it they've done a good job of it. And I think, they're looking to grow here again pretty soon and get it up to 12 teams as quick as possible.
You're not far out of college, really, when you think about it, 5 years out sort of thing. If I told you in your final year at Minnesota Duluth that you'd play in a league that sort of looked like this, would you have believed it? Did you sense something like that was coming, or were you sort of resigned that, sort of the division and the way that it was the way that it was going to be?
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. You were hearing a bunch of different rumors kind of from all over. And luckily, the timing worked out pretty well for me, being able to come out of college into this league and being a part of that inaugural season. Definitely pretty grateful for that timing, because, a lot of players had to take some gap years or go overseas and whatnot. So it definitely worked out well.
Ashen, you've been watching the Olympic tournament. You were telling us what's caught your eye with the Canadian team.
Yeah, I think, they have some youth there and a lot of experience as well. So they definitely had, not the start they wanted just throughout the whole kind of year with the rivalry series and their game in the prelims too. But I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to show up for this gold medal match, and that experience is going to come through. And seeing Pooh beat the all-time record is pretty special as well. She's a legend and one of a kind, so definitely pretty special for her to get that in her 4th Olympics.
What's it like being in a dressing room with her?
Are there adjectives left?
I don't know. I just look up to her so much as a player and a person. She's an incredible leader, and what she's accomplished on the ice speaks for itself. So, very happy for her.
Would it be surprising if you found out like she had no knee left at this point and she's still playing like this? Like I shudder to think what is going wrong with her knee and what she's still accomplishing.
She'll play on crutches.
Yes, she will. Yes.
Yeah, literally. There was a video the other day of her being in a golf cart getting taken to the practice facilities. I'm like, she will do anything to be on that ice, especially here at the Olympics. So she's a tough one.
Is Canada capable of playing a defensive game, counterattack? Sorry, I'm using soccer terms here, but that's sort of the way I almost envision this game happening here. Like, that's not usually how we play, but given the group that's there, it feels like that might be the plan in the final, is to sort of batten down the hatches and then try to surprise the U.S. the other way. Can we play that way, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's kind of, how the game kind of has to shift in this final. I think the U.S. has a ton of depth and scoring power up front. So I think, being strong defensively is going to be key in this gold medal match. And you have Deb or Mash between the pipes. So whoever it is, you have them to trust. They have a ton of experience. And the back end as well. You have players like Fasty, Joss, Ella, Claire, all those girls that have been there before. So definitely just, taking advantage of that experience and building from the back up.
Your teammate Emmeryn Smashmeyer seems to be having a lot of fun over there based on her social media. Have you caught that, Ashton?
Yeah, there's been a ton of, I'm kind of off the TikToks and the Reels, but I've been trying to follow a little bit, and she's, been very active. So I almost feel like I'm there in Milan with her.
Yeah, don't we all? Sarah seems to be her favorite caddy there as well. Sarah's in just about every video with her as well. You guys have a gold medal watch party that's going on at the Shark Club, 10 a.m. on Thursday. You did this previously in the tournament. Tell me about what it was like to get out and watch the game as a group and with fans.
Yeah, it's definitely special to put on these events. We did it, the first one with She's Got Next. They kind of spearheaded it. And then we have, a few girls that are being involved in autographs, pictures between intermissions and doing some interviews. And there's some prizes being given away. So, it's definitely a fun experience for the fans to interact with us and for us just to get together as a group and cheer on our teammates and Canada as well for me. But
that's at the Shark Club downtown on Thursday at 10 a.m. for the Canada-United States gold medal match in the women's ice hockey tournament. And then Sunday, March 1st at the Pacific Coliseum against the Toronto Scepters, the first of a 5-game homestand. Ashton, what's important for the Goldeneyes the rest of the way here? Get into the playoff in terms of getting into the playoffs and having a successful first season.
Yeah, I think that first half, we kind of went through a lot of ups and downs. We were on the road quite a bit, but yeah, looking into the second half, having 5 games at home right off the bat, we're definitely really excited about and eager for that March 1st game. I think playing here at home, like we kind of mentioned earlier, is something different, and we can definitely use that to our advantage. And we want to, make some moves here in the rankings, and to be able to have 5 games at home will definitely set us up well for some success down the road if we can take advantage of those games.
Yeah, the first big homestand for the club. Sorry.
And for you personally, a good, strong finish. I know you want to wear that Canada sweater again, and the Worlds have now been shifted from, well, they're going to have a Worlds in an Olympic year in November in Denmark. Yeah. And I'm sure that's on your radar too, huh?
Yeah, definitely. That's always, in the back of your mind, wanting to represent your national team and get back to that stage. So, yeah, it will do everything I can, for this team, for the Goldeneyes, and then hopefully, that pays off in the national team as well.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, best of luck with that. We'll be following. You can get your tickets, ticketleader.evenue, not avenue, but evenue.net. And I'm looking at all 5 games, and they're saying almost gone. We know the Goldeneyes have been an extremely hot ticket here in their first year. Really enjoyed watching you guys, and really enjoyed this time. Ashton, thanks
Ashton.
very much. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
So Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center in the Nation Network studio, built by Arbor Lee. Big game downtown. Make Sheraton Vancouver Wall Center your home base for game night and beyond. Walk to the action, sleep like a champ. Plan your stay at wallcenter.com. 74 days after competing at MLS Cup, Vancouver Whitecaps FC 2026 season begins tomorrow in Costa Rica as they have CS Cartagenas in the opener of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Their MLS opener goes Saturday at BC Place, 4:30 versus Real Salt Lake. Are you there?
No, not until the next week.
Okay. And lo and behold, would you look at this? MLS pundits suddenly kinder to Vancouver Whitecaps in their preseason prognostications. You'll remember that last year, everyone on this list picked them to finish 10th or lower.
Not everybody. Bradley Wright Phillips at the bottom, he had them in the play-in.
Right. Ninth?
Ninth, I think. 8th or 9th, yeah.
This year, no one has them lower than 6th. Most have them 2nd or 3rd. MLS put out its power rankings preseason, and the Caps are 3rd behind Miami and LAFC.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a bold decision because they have the knowledge that Ryan Gall's not starting the season.
But they have Mueller for the whole year.
They've lost Nelson. They've lost Ahmed. I could
They have Mueller for the whole year.
I could understand them have saying this is not the team that went to MLS Cup and knocking them down a couple notches, but they haven't. They're assuming that they at least hold serve.
And here you see how the Whitecaps are likely to line up, be it tomorrow or Saturday. Their best available 11 for the moment. Now, you see Ralph Priso there listed at center back instead of Matias Laborda, because that could go either way. Laborda could also play right back there for Ocampo, right?
One of the games, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Ranko Veselinovic remains on the mend coming back from that ACL tear. Tate Johnson showing at left back, now a second-year player, but Canadian international Sam Adekugbe is going to feature there of entry. He's coming off that Achilles tear, and of course the aforementioned Ryan Gauld is shelved until April, but he'll figure at some point, and we anticipate Gauld will play winger this year, right, with Mueller in the attacking midfielder spot?
Yeah, or spell, because again, you're excited about Mueller for the whole season, but at his age, he can't play the whole season. Like, they're going to have to utilize him judiciously. It was one thing coming off a long rest for him to play almost every game in the fall when he arrived, but he can't play the 34 plus all the champion. Like, he's going to be spelled off. So I think Gauld will start in Muller's spot a fair amount.
Yep.
But otherwise,
when they play together,
yes,
he'll play on the wing. Because you want
most
the
likely.
Raumditer, the interpreter of space in the middle of the park. Canada at the Olympics struck gold twice since we signed off yesterday. This morning, the women's team pursuit speed skating repeats as Olympic champion. They are the defending world champion as well. They set the fastest time in the preliminaries and then delivered after trailing the Dutch early in this race. To hear people who are much bigger speed skating folks than I, Isabel Weideman is 6'2". She's like a tractor trailer out there. So she's the lead skater, and then itty bitty Ivani Blondin and Valerie Malte skate behind her. You almost don't even see them. They're so little behind Isabel. But she takes the big air, and they draft behind her. It's a beautiful partnership. Malte is a former short tracker. Blondin is a veteran of the big oval. So nice to see them rewarded, and a third gold medal for Canada from the speed skating venue where the atmosphere is fantastic, it must be said.
I saw a couple of Valentine's cards last week. Honey, you're like a tractor trailer. We won't use that with Isabel if she's ever on the show.
No, we won't. But the point is, if you're ever driving behind a tractor trailer,
yes.
you know that they're
Yes.
cutting the air, a hole in the air for you.
Yes.
Which is how is. I hope she's not listening.
I don't think. I'm guessing she's pretty focused.
No,
these
I
days.
mean her at home.
Oh, yes, that one too.
Then there's Perry Sound's Megan Oldham, might be the second most famous athlete from Perry Sound, Ontario. She won in the big air yesterday, adding to her bronze in the slope style. There was this defenseman named Orr who came from there once upon a time. Postponements at the mountain venue where women's free skiing aerials featuring Marion Thénault and the snowboard slope style featuring Laurie Blouin and Juliette Pelchat was postponed. Weather. Blouin took a silver medal in Pyeongchang. Her best result, though, was 7th on the World Cup circuit this year. That has been rescheduled to early tomorrow morning. And then there was a men's
Big air
also rescheduled. That was later in the day. They were hoping to get that
skiing
in.
big air. Yeah.
Yeah, but no dice.
I
that'll
read
all
that
get
it was
pushed
getting
back.
warm, but I'm looking at the forecast now in Cortina, and it's all cold. It's just snow that they were and wind.
Not great medal hopes there for Canada, but possibilities, outside chances. 12 medals for Canada, 3 golds. And in terms of potential golds left, and we've been talking about this all week, and we both sort of agreed that 10 is out of reach. Well, here's Shoreview Analytics, courtesy of our buddy Ben Steiner, who's covering. Okay, so let's put men's hockey in there number 4. Let's put men's curling in there number 5. Now, women's hockey going to be tough, but there's a possibility there tomorrow or Thursday against the United States. Women's curling also going to be tough. Rachel Homan did win today. She was not great. There was a couple of misses from the Swedish skip late that allowed Canada to win this game. She really can't afford another loss in the prelims here. Kevin Martin mentioned that to us yesterday. But if we sweep the curling and the hockey, that gets you to 7, Blake. Then there's Chilliwack's Reese Howden in the ski cross. He is the heavy gold medal favorite. Stephen Dubois in the short track 500 meters is listed as a favorite there from Shoreview. And then the men's short track relay. So that gets you to 9. And again, that will be difficult. And then you're hoping some athletes can outperform the predictions. The mixed freestyle aerials, William Danjanu in the 500 meters. If it's not Dubois, Courtney Sereau in the 1,500 meter short track. And that would be her 4th medal of the games, likely means she carries the flag in the closing ceremonies. The women's short track relay is still out there, and Ivani Blondin, aforementioned, the speed skater in the mass
That
start.
last column that you see for those of you on visuals, if you're just about medals, if you're agnostic about color of the medals, the black is the disappointments, and the red is the bonus. Oh, surprises! So 5 black, 2 red. So we're still in arrears here to get to 26 medals. We're 3 behind. Everybody else has at least got medals.
But that's showing 13 medals there. 13 more medals for Canada. That's showing if all of them deliver. And look, it's likely that they're not all going to deliver.
But then you could get a surprise or 2, just like we've got
That's
right there.
right.
So you never know.
So if it were to be 13 medals, you'd get to 25.
I think if they get to 22, I'm going to say it's salvaged.
That's probably about fair. Yep.
Anything above that, I'll say well done.
News from Adam Schefter on the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, saying they are unlikely to use their franchise tag on running back and Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker. Schefter explaining the Seahawks have multiple free agents they want to retain and sign. They will also, of course, try to extend Jackson Smith and Jigba after he's named Offensive Player of the Year. As Schefter mentions, enough Super Bowl tax, and that's not an official term. That's just when you win a Super Bowl, guys get paid more. So the franchise tag is a way of keeping a unrestricted free agent to be by paying him an average of the top salaries at his position. For running backs, that's only $14 million. That's the lowest of any position other than kicker. So while Walker would make a good salary being franchised, he'd lose the chance for a multi-year deal in free agency, more guaranteed money. It sounds like they're taking the path of least resistance here, hoping to get him more guaranteed money and see if he'll sign on a longer-term deal because of the feels of a Super Bowl champion looking to repeat. Our friend Captain Greg Bell, Seahawks Insider, said after the Super Bowl he thinks the Seahawks might have already missed their opportunity here by not negotiating in season, and that Walker's headspace may have already moved on. Of course, rings,
I'm a little less
rings have a
concerned.
way of changing that. We'll
I'm
see.
a little less concerned about that if you have a fully healthy Zach Charbonnet and he contributed to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he's coming off
that
knee.
injury.
It's a big knee injury.
You could have a reduced Charbonnet and no Walker. Don't love that.
Well, and the thing about Charbonnet is he's not particularly fast to begin with.
Oh, no,
but
different style.
He's a one-cut power guy, and so is he going to be as effective making that cut off the bad knee?
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see.
the thing.
The full teardown rebuild is underway in South Florida, where the Dolphins have released former All-Pro wide receiver Tyreek Hill, former Pro Bowl edge Bradley Chubb. They gave up 2 firsts, a second, and 2 fourths to acquire those guys in trades. Wide receiver Jaden Waddle reportedly wants the same. His release, he's doing the math, seeing what's at play there. And quarterback Tua Tagovailoa could well be next. Rashid Shaheed's probably going to get paid. I mean, Tyreek Hill's a head case, Blake. Would you entertain him for the Waddle as a deep threat wide receiver as well? I like Waddle a lot.
Yeah, I could do that. I don't think given all the one of the biggest things about the Seahawks the last 12 months has been people saying the vibes, the love in the room.
Yep.
Like everybody pulling on the rope in the same direction, and you're going to bring in a head case like Hill? No.
2026 Milan Games underway. World's best men and women's players battling for hockey gold, and Daily Faceoff is covering every game, every goal, every jaw-dropping moment, plus live reaction streams and full recaps of all the drama. Who is going to rise to the top? Don't miss a second of hockey from Milan on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. Live reactions, recaps. Hit subscribe, be a part of every play, and we can tell you, mentioned this earlier in the program as well, we will not have a show on Thursday. We will not have a show on Thursday because our friend Irf Ghaffar is taking part in a live stream of the gold medal game alongside Madison Packer and Anne-Sophie Bate. That stream's going to start at 10 a.m. here, Pacific time, as the puck drops on the gold medal game. So check out Irf and company as they watch along with Canada versus the United States for the championship and the gold medal.
That's Packer, the American alumnus, Bate, the Canadian alumnus, and the referee will be Irfan Ghaffar. That's how I see that going down. It's going to be blood feud on that show.
Results of the Yellow Dog poll question from Monday. We asked you, what would you prefer in the men's hockey tournament? Canada versus USA final or the USA beaten before the final? And the people said?
Against the United States.
No, they voted with you.
The upset. Really?
They want the USA beaten before the final. Now, I don't know if that's a lot of Canucks fans pulling for Elias Pettersson in Sweden to beat them in the quarters, if Sweden gets there. Darren Because all the comments were about Canada versus USA. Darren, a potentially epic Canada-USA best-on-best hockey final is the only reason we're shutting down the NHL for 2 weeks. None of the other matchups even move the interest needle. Chris, I don't want the USA to medal. Would be happy with the Canada-Germany final, McDavid versus Draisaitl. Jay, the gold medal is just the first place ribbon, if not accomplished by beating the United States. I'm with you, Jay. And K-Town says, as much I'd love to see the U.S. get upset, I want to beat their ass mano to mano and leave no doubt.
You know, it is a fascinating study here because, folks, if they get upset in the quarters, they don't have a medal. They don't even get the consolation of a medal. And like if they don't win, they don't deserve to be in the final. So your ability to beat them is inconsequential. They couldn't even get to you. So I don't know. That would be pretty satisfying to see them completely skunked and off the podium.
With all that talent.
Yeah.
3 potential Vezina Trophy winning goaltenders, 2 potential Norris Trophy winning defensemen, a Rocket Richard winning center iceman and captain, a 2-time Stanley Cup champion winger. Long list of errors and omissions. We'll start with John Shannon. I don't necessarily think he was confused. I think he just used it as an example, but I wanted to clarify. It was Paul Maurice was being considered, or at least by Finnish players, for the Finnish head coaching job, not Sweden. He mentioned that as we were talking about Sweden and talking about the merits of having an NHL coach for some of these European nations that are effectively made up of all NHL players now. I shortchanged Courtney Saroux a medal, said it was 2. She's 3. Forgot about the mixed team relay. She got on the podium there as well.
Did you see the financial story about that? She makes $55,000 in the Canadian Rewards program. If she
per medal?
Yeah, no, just with all 3.
Oh, okay.
If she was Italian, it would be $350,000.
Well, I mean, they tend to incentivize home medals. Like we did the same with Vancouver 2010, right?
But I don't think
maybe
it's
not
changed.
to that level.
I don't think it's changed. I don't think we've.
But we funded them more in the build-up than we are now.
Are we? I thought it had just been plateaued. That we haven't increased, and so as inflation and stuff has happened, we haven't adjusted. So,
a $2010 is different than a $2026.
Yeah.
I said it was the Great Britain skip Mowat who was called for the hogline violation. It was actually one of his sweepers. He's Scottish. His name is Bruce Mowat. The sweepers, Mike, are
Hammy and Lammy.
Is that not perfect? For a Scottish rink, you got Bruce, Hammy, Lammy.
Bruce, of course, the key figure in Braveheart. It's a Scottish name.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce.
Is that not William Wallace?
No, he's the foil. He's the turncoat.
Robert the Bruce.
Yes.
And I was surprised I did not get a note on this. I will cut him off at the pass. We did not mention the NBA All-Star Game yesterday, much I'm sure to basketball Phil's chagrin.
He's very upset.
Blake admonished me for this. People actually liked the format. 3 teams, 2 U.S. sides versus a world team. Victor Wembanyama and Anthony Edwards played hard. That was nice to see.
There was defense. Kawhi Leonard played hard. Like if Kawhi's playing hard in an All-Star game, you found something.
It sounds like Adam Silver's finally got his message through. People are a little confused about the format. The slam dunk competition on Saturday afternoon, they moved it to afternoon from night, was disastrous. It was awful. Yeah. But people like the 3-point shooting contest with Dame Lillard on the bad Achilles.
And the veterans are apparently gathering themselves to all participate next year with a throwback of Clay and Curry and all those guys doing it for next year.
So maybe they've unlocked an all-star format here, an all-star. They have rekindled some of that all-star spirit, because when we were kids, the all-star game was fantastic.
It was a
it was
big
a
deal.
chance to see Michael versus Magic and Larry versus Magic and Ewing versus Robinson and like all those
The faces of the league.
superstar versus superstar matchups. And look, they didn't play a ton of defense back in the day, but there was at least a competitive fourth quarter, and there were tons of alley-oops. It didn't necessarily look as pick-up-y as it has in years past. And then, of course, who can forget Irvin coming off HIV in Orlando, Magic in the Magic Kingdom with all those three-pointers at the end of the game over Isaiah and Michael. And
Yeah.
thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. It costs you nothing. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time weekdays. And, of course, please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about and keep it local.